Hello, welcome to Toffee TV. It is quiet this week because it's international break going into FA Cup, which we're no longer in. So we thought we would have a chat about something a little bit different, but very, very interesting. Over the last week or so, we've become aware that Everton are interested, or the Freaking Group, or everyone together are interested in purchasing Nelson Dock. We've already bought, obviously, Bramley-Moore Dock. We've built the stadium on it. Not a cone, that is real, not a red cone. And at Everton, Colin Chong, Everton's interim CEO, has admitted that Everton are in talks, or the Freaking Group are in talks with Peel to purchase Nelson Dock. And he went even further this week in an interview and actually said Everton are looking at beyond Nelson Dock and even over the road towards the 10th Street Social and things like that. So before I ask John and Ped for their views on it, just going to put on screen, this is what it is, just so everyone is aware of where it is. So there's the stadium, as you can see, and obviously Nelson Dock is the dock right next to it, so that would give obviously a much bigger footprint for Everton Football Club on that land. I think it's very interesting, I think it's very exciting, and I think it further demonstrates the Freaking Group's commitment to Everton Football Club and to this new era that I think Everton are moving into. Ped, first start with you. This is something we, John as well, the three of us and other people in the past have discussed. Could Everton get hold of more of the land? But knowing that there was issues paying for the last one and everything else that went on for it, it just seemed like that had all sort of died away. So I don't know, well, I do know, but me and you were really sort of enthused when Colin Chong sort of admitted that Everton actually looking at this.
Well, I suppose in hindsight, Everton should have took this land originally and maybe filled it in when the other dock was filled in, but then maybe that would have added to the complications of
planning permissions,
heritage societies, UNESCO and all these things, which Everton were obviously walking with a very fine line. So you can imagine that they obviously thought maybe at a later date we can come back to this. There hasn't been lots of takers for that land, so it's there now, and part of me is surprised. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be, but obviously really happy that we're looking at taking this land, because as you've seen from that picture there, it is right next to the stadium. It opens up a wealth of possibilities. I think one of the possibilities it opens up is, for some people, is the fact that could mean the South Stand could be made bigger. Now, I don't see that personally, but it is a possibility. Obviously, as I said, that you look at the South Stand there, the big stand, it could be made even bigger if you've got more room. And people might say, well, why didn't you do that in the first place? But that's not, they weren't the plans for the stadium.
No.
Ultimately. You've got owning the land, just owning it so someone else can't own it. That's your land. The success of the stadium could create lots of opportunity for other people, but we own the land, so if you want to build something on it, go ahead, but we're taking the money. And then the other one, which is, I think, is what Everton have sort of hinted at, is possibility of building an arena on there. That would be somewhere in the size of the Co-op Arena in Manchester, similar distance from the stadium, shared spaces. So in Manchester, once the new stand gets built, it will have an indoor fan zone and a hotel. That fan zone will be getting used, and the hotel will be getting used for gigs at the Co-op Arena. Now, the Co-op Arena isn't owned by Manchester City. It's owned by different people.
One of the minority shareholder.
Yeah, one of them being Harry Styles. And they are the minority. But it's having that shared infrastructure. Now, there was a thing last week as well that came out saying that if Everton have concerts within the outside of the stadium, in the plaza, they will use the facilities of the stadium for the toilets, the bars, and maybe the restaurants. So already that joined up thinking is there. If Everton were to have concerts, and this is the one I think we should incorporate, women's and under-21s football games, or other sporting events within that arena, then you can use that fan zone. You've already got people into the wall, beyond the wall, and that to me is what Everton should be thinking of. Go big, and make an arena that blows every other arena out. Obviously, it goes by how big it is. But try and build an arena that basically says to the one up the road, sorry lads, you're too small. You ain't getting these big concerts that you are getting at the moment. We are gonna, and that to me is the way this city's got to start thinking. And I think these owners have got a real opportunity to do that. Something that makes money all year round. So I'm well behind, as you can tell. I think this is really exciting.
It's the most enthused I've seen you for a while.
Head behind his vision.
since the Tour de France.
Yeah, since the Tour de France, you were happy with that. John, obviously, from a business perspective, I mean, are you, Ped's saying he's a little bit surprised, but I mean, I think he's only surprised because it went quiet.
I'm Everton surprised.
Yeah, but we're in a different era now, aren't we? I suppose. Are you as enthused as Ped is, and are those opportunities there from a business perspective? Do you think?
Yeah, of course. Right. I mean, Micheri looked at it. So it's not rocket science, is it? If you're building something which is going to bookend a whole regeneration place, you expect people to fill in between. You also expect that first movers get the best deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Peel are notoriously difficult to deal with and all that sort of stuff. That's just because they're hard-nosed business people, right? And if there hasn't been huge take-up, and it's not like there's a big long list of people saying, look at all the great ideas we've got, then there may be a great deal to be done there. And as soon as you say, well, we're going to buy the land, it's great because all the things you said at the beginning, protecting your own investments on the stadium because you now have control of who your immediate neighbour's going to be and all that sort of stuff. You then say, what we're going to use it for? Well, it can be really, really boring and stick a hotel on it or some office space or some apartments or all of the above. Or it can be really bold for the whole city and build a proper, full-sized indoor arena. And the world is your oyster then. So, and that's not going to come cheap either. It's going to be what, 3, 4, maybe 500 million
How much
quid.
was the doctor filling? What was it? 100 million.
But you know, I think the Co-op Live cost what, 300-400 million, and that was just on a brownfield site. So there's no filling in of docks and things. So it's a significant investment. Clearly would seek significant infrastructure support. I mean, it's built and made that idea, isn't it, for having a new station right in front of the damn thing. So if you visualise right across the roads the Titanic, station right outside, big space, blah blah blah. One thing it's not going to be is just a car park, right? So anyone out there who thinks, they're just going to fill in a dock and make it a car park. No, I don't think so. So it's about leadership and how bold you're prepared to be. It seems if you've got capital investment that you can collate the funds, because if you look at the city thing, that's done by a specialist company who does property developments around sports, and City are there with their name, and no doubt will get some of the benefit. So it could literally be that the football club gets hold of the space, which allows them to control, and then they get specialists in to actually develop it.
And obviously that would...
So we don't. It's not us. It's not like the football club spending £400 million on a second building rather than footballers. It's got to be a net gain for the football club. But the branding and the adjacency to that beautiful thing is all going to help, isn't it? And before you know it, that dream of filling the gap in between there and Prince's Dock and all that sort of stuff might actually happen a hell of a lot quicker than anyone could possibly have imagined.
And obviously there's the park to go there as well.
All of the above.
The other thing as well, Ped, when we come back onto the dock and the other thing I thought was interesting was Colin Chong did sort of reference the 10th Street area as well. He said, and across the road, and we're looking at that. What do you think that would entail? Like, what would be looking over there? Would that be hotels?
Well, there's a lot of buildings there, isn't there? There's a lot of warehouses, and you're going for a lot of money. Anyone if you go by the Titanic and you cross over Great Howard Street, there's just been a new development there, which again, it's in keeping with the area, but it's modern flats. They're trying to turn it into an area akin to what is we've seen at the other end, which is where the Baltic is. You've got to make that connection between the city centre to where we are now. Now, Everton are going to be the biggest beneficiary of this if they own an arena, a stadium, and obviously land or warehouses that can be converted into many different things. So Everton will be saying, you come into our area because of us, and we make money off you staying here or drinking here or eating here. We control it's real estate. Like, again, I'm not a real estate, obviously. It's like real estate one-on-one, isn't it? It's like you control the whole thing. It's why, like, Liverpool 1, when it was built by a private company who owned all of it, and that's being sold now. But it's the point of, like, taking one area and shaping it yourself, and you getting all the benefits from it. And I think it's the same with this area. First thing Everton, I think, can do if they were to build an arena is say to the local authority, you need to build us the infrastructure now, which is a modern train station that sits somewhere up by the Titanic hotel, you know, that side of that side, rather than being down in Sandhills. Because you're saying to people, we're bringing in all these people, and you're getting the benefits on every different way, aren't you? And you know, this, as I said, it just makes sense. If there's land there to buy, Everton are going to be here for the next 100 years down there. It just makes sense. If you don't buy it, like John just said, if you don't buy it now, you're never getting hold of it.
It's only going
You're never
way,
getting hold of it. The central dock's getting built on. That's going to be houses and a park. So they're going to have residential people. Residential people will need facilities. So if you don't buy this land right now, it doesn't mean you have to do something with it, but you control that area. And I think that's so important, and it's why this is so important. You know, Everton could sit on this land for 5-6 years and do nothing till maybe the time is right, or the city's ready, or the council have built them a train station, or whatever it is. It's about controlling the narrative, and it's the first time for a long time the football club will be able to do that, and I think that's so important. And another reason arenas are really important, I think, is because of this the stadium as well. Because if you want those big people to come in the summer, you need somewhere for those people to come the rest of the year. And if you want there's big organisations out there like Live Nation, which are really controlling the narrative on concerts and promotions. If you want them to go to our ground rather than Liverpool's ground or Man City's ground, you need to be dragging those people in all the time. You know, Man City have got, at the moment, they'll be saying to these people who are going to the, like Sabrina Carpenter, say, who's just played in the co-op. They'll be talking to her reps and going, we want you in the Etihad this year. You're not going to Anfield. We want you here. You'll play here again in December or whatever, but we want you here, and that's what Everton have got to do as well, because we're competing with Liverpool and we're competing with the Etihad right now for those big concerts, and it's all one big thing. And if you, this is how we get ahead of Liverpool, but this is how we beat Manchester. This is not about Everton and Liverpool, it's about Manchester and Liverpool.
That's the key.
It's not about beating Liverpool.
Because that should happen.
You did just say it.
No, I know, but it's not. But it's not though, because it's actually whisper this, right? It's actually massively beneficial for big artists to be playing at Anfield and to be playing at Bramley Moore. Whisper that quietly, but it is. I know that because I've worked in that sector, which is called being a taxi driver. It's all a knock-on effect.
Yeah.
So you've got to take that away from Manchester, and at the moment we're getting nowhere near Manchester, and no one else is building us this arena. The city council aren't building it, and there's nowhere else to build this big arena. This is where the Freakins will have all that forward thinking that Americans do, of going, well, you've got all this land, well, you can have a stadium and you can have an arena. And I think if that's what they'll be looking to do.
Come back to that bit before we finish, but I was just interested about the 10 streets bit with the other side of the road. I mean, what have you made of that? Because Ped's right, there's those buildings there where we can get in. It could be residential or makes more sense to have hotels and things like that. But were you a little bit surprised by that, or is it, as Ped says,
no, not at all surprised, because the thing with delivery is ideas are easy.
Yeah.
While someone's thinking about, we should do it.
Yeah.
And if you sort of visualise, you're looking at from the river, you've got this lovely big shiny new stadium, this space where you think you can have an arena. It's going to develop as you go. It's not actually a huge distance down to Princess Dock once you've done that bit. Where else you got development opportunity? Go inland. Yeah. And the whole, if you like, sell on this building was it would bookend the waterfront and the 10 streets, which is more than 10, of course. So why wouldn't you think, well, if it makes sense to do docks where you have to fill them in, well, doesn't it make sense to repurpose historical buildings to become hotels and apartments and restaurants and bars and And the way I visualised it when this started to come out was that negative map that was drawn a couple of weeks ago about the exclusion zone. That's a whole redevelopment area. That's a North Liverpool village, right? Yeah, it really is a North Liverpool village with that beautiful stadium, a big arena, proper size was 25,000-ish maybe. And then you've got a campus area almost, which is what the Etihad are doing, isn't it, right? A campus area where you say, you know what we've got here is, and I don't think you necessarily meant it this way, but you could have an artist that says, you know, when someone does a concert in whatever year it is, 2028, they fill the arena. When they get really big, they fill the football stadium.
Yeah.
And if before the arena, they do the plaza.
Yeah.
And so you can go to promoters and say, we've got 3 layers here where you can test out. When you think you're doing 3 nights in the plaza, you should be doing 1 night in the arena. When you're doing 3 nights in the arena, you should be doing, the
ground,
the stadium itself. So
One thing I'd say about the tent seats as well is, it's not like an area where it's like they're not all listed buildings.
No.
There's a lot of freedom
there.
I'll guarantee 90% of those buildings are for sale if someone knocks on the door and says, we'll buy it off you. And loads of them. I went down there the other day.
You'll have to see what happened with the various close to Regent Road type, old timber yards going for huge amounts of money and stuff like that.
I was down there last week, and a couple of the buildings are ready to fall down. And you just think, if you buy that, and knock them down, and then buy a couple behind them, you can build new stuff dead quick. And they'll be worth their weight in gold within a couple of years for the right people if they understand what. See, this is where it comes in. If the freaking group know where it's going, it's easier, isn't it, to build something that facilitates that thing. If if we're building an arena, obviously you want places that are for families, places, restaurants that you can go beforehand, hotels. If you can knock them down, build something, and then let all of the major brands start buying into those smaller hotels or whatever, boutique ones, proper big ones. You can do what you want down there, but you've got to know that beforehand, and that's how you get in there now.
Or you make it happen.
But that's what I'm saying. Football fans don't tend to stay overnight. No. Very often when they go to games, but people who go to concerts do. And that's the difference, isn't it? If you go, I'm going to see this person, it's the only place she's playing in the Northwest. And listen, I was at the Taylor Swift gig last year, and there was people from all over the country, because it was like people were buying tickets.
And the world, by the sound.
People were buying tickets. Yeah, I spoke to people who'd come over from New York, because it was cheaper to buy tickets to come to the UK than it was to go and get the flights and everything. If you get an artist who's so high caliber that you can only see them, let's just say in the north of England, but it might just be you've got to give these people places to stay. And Liverpool city centre is becoming really hard place to stay in. So if you say, the Titanic must be loving this. They are at the moment the number one, it's the epicentre for anyone to go. So their prices can go through the roof. You've got to have like budget hotels down there and medium hotels down there and everything else. That land is there. We can buy that and control that whole thing by saying, we know we're putting an arena in, that it's going to be 25,000 and we're going to get all the major artists. Because I'm telling you now, they don't go to Manchester because it's Manchester. They go because they can play 2 nights in the Co-op, whereas in Liverpool, it would take them to get the same 5 or 6.
That many. There you go.
5 or 6. And it's
a huge opportunity.
Totally.
Real estate price is just going to go one way, isn't it? Once the stadium's up and running, and so it's a great opportunity.
But because it is run down, it is run down a little bit. Obviously, it's not just about buying; it's about building as well, and that might put people off at this stage.
Well, Colin Chong said, we'll wrap it up now, but Colin Chong said the freaking group are really key to sort of regenerate that and put that back into the local economy as well. But obviously, it all trickles back into the football club, doesn't it? What we're looking out for that, and it is a huge opportunity, John, as well. If you do have some sort of arena on that Nelson dock, I don't know how easy it is to have stuff that goes over it, but that opens up things like when they've tried to have basketball stuff there, or these one-off events or certain things. You can almost use that all year round. So you might get these big concerts like Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia Rodrigo and all of these names.
Of course.
But then 2 weeks later, you've got basketball in there, or you've got something else, because
basketball, maybe
that's
football matches.
If we can't, obviously, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and Wembley are like the home of NFL, and Tottenham will get an NFL franchise eventually, right?
Yeah, they will.
So why couldn't we become the home of when the NBA plays games away from America, which they do? Why can't we become the home of that?
We become the basketball stadium.
Because we've got the biggest arena, and people are willing to travel. It doesn't always have to be in London. People want to travel in the north, and we make we make them an acceptable offer. We know the Freakins are interested in basketball because they just tried to buy the Boston Celtics unsuccessfully. More money for us.
Maybe that's why they're buying it.
So why can't we become the home, the same way that me and you want Everton Stadium to become the home of Brazil when they're not playing? Why can't our arena become the home of NBA or the home of NHL? When they play
some ice down,
when they put some or we never
soccer sixes, bring it back.
We never get tennis. We never get tennis.
You could have
tennis is a good one.
Why can't we become the home of those things? Because what you're saying to people, and again, like a broken record, reiterate to people, once you get them through that wall, people feel
captive,
safe. Well, they feel safe. They feel part of something.
It's true,
and it's. You're offering them so many different. Becomes a sports village the minute you build that arena. It becomes a sports village. You don't need anything else. You don't. Okay, we can talk campuses and all that, but it doesn't need to be. It's whether you're prepared to take that extra step, and I am, and I have no money to do this, to make it an arena that can hold football matches. Because I've said loads of times, I went to the one in Paris in December, and that's an indoor rugby stadium. They have a team that plays there. So why can't we say we want the women
be that big?
Yeah, you can't have them that big.
25,000 seater.
Well, you can have as long you can have. This is a 40. This is 40,000.
The one in Paris.
In Paris.
But I'm saying, is it that big?
Well, that's the problem. I don't know whether you can make it that big, but they might.
Because I'm just thinking of.
Next door, we put a 50-odd thousand seats.
No.
If you're having it for sort of concerts and everything, what would happen with
40,000 for say concerts? But it mightn't have to be that big. It might be. Don't forget, for a football if it was going to hold a sport inside a football, it's all it is about the pitch.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter about. It might only hold 15,000 for football matches, let's say, or 20,000.
And then you fill the floor in. So it might only hold. Might only hold 25,000 for concerts, but once you put that football pitch in, it might hold 15,000. It's all about what you want to do with it. They might turn around and go, "We're not interested."
Thing is, right? And
go on, John. You have the last word.
We'll find out, won't we, one day? Sort of thing. Hopefully sooner rather than later. But we built a football ground, right, or stadium, which was bespoke for football. You'll do the opposite with the arena. You'll make it as flexible and adaptable as you possibly can. You know. We can see it in big national stadiums. You can move seats away, put them under the other seats, and then suddenly you've got a space for a football pitch. And then when you put them away, it's only 25,000.
What people have got to remember
whatever.
What people have got to remember
just be bold.
The stadium, if you're talking about non-football events, the stadium can only hold so many non-football events.
Yes.
It can only
more at the moment.
Concert, I think it's like going to be 6, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going to be 6.
Build it up to 6.
So it can only hold 6 in the summer.
Yeah.
Or if rugby league wanted to do an international, or
again,
England wanted to do, or there's only so many days of the year you can have them. Whereas that arena can hold concerts all year round, and that's where the money really comes from.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Listen to
it's exciting. Get paid in as the PR for it. Send this on to Dan. Let him have a little look at it. Let us know what you think in the comments section. Know you're excited, you're enthused by it. An opportunity for Everton to increase the footprint, which is what they're looking at, it seems. Obviously, all of that trickle back into the football club to put a better team on there as well. Is it exciting? I think it is. So let us know. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. See you later.